a critical loss. It's not over, of course. However, you put all that into that kind of a game, and your goaltender cost you the game. That's tough to reconcile. And now you ask the question. I don't know that Mike Sullivan would bail on Tristan Jarry. DeSmith is still not ready to play. You have Maxime Lagacé, who hasn't played in a long time. His one start, he got a shutout. Do you consider making a move there at all, given how Jarry has been unsure of himself? He's playing with no confidence.
No, I can't go to Lagacé here. That would be waving the white flag. I mean, it's Jarry's game. It's Jarry's series to win or lose. I don't think if you're Mike Sullivan, you can consider that. If Casey DeSmith was healthy, I think you'd at least have a case to think about it. But I just can't get over how well they played and how Jarry let them down. I have no nice things to say. I can't sugarcoat it. They played 39 of 40 minutes to start this game, more or less flawlessly. And yet the reason that they, were in the situation, the predicament they were in, was because Tristan Jarry couldn't bail them out of the one mistake that they made. I mean, it's hard to kind of come back from something like this. You lose Game 5 and or you win Game 5 in a series where it's tied 2-2 going in. The team that wins Game 5 gets the series win about 79% of the time. It just feels like the Penguins gave their best punch to the Islanders here, and it should have been enough, and they can look to one guy as to why it wasn't.
Right. At that end of the first period, I mean, it's one thing to have your guys out of position and Gensel's back late. Crosby was a little back late, but still, Beauvillier, it's him
make
one-on-one.
He How about just make the save?
Right. I would say
Ilya
the same
Sorokin
thing.
made a ton of saves to bail his team out.
I would say the same thing about Eberle's goal. He fanned on it at first. It gave Jarry enough time to make it. He was flopping all over the place. Again, he's not technically sound right now. I think he loses confidence as each one of these games goes by. He came back in Game 2, played a good game. He didn't win the game, but he played a good game. And I think if you look at what he's done, it's not been good enough, period. And Sorokin is now their guy. There's no question about that. And he's also probably in the heads of the Penguin shooters because they're trying to figure out what to do. They made some great shots. They had nothing to say. Now, the other thing, extending beyond this series and this season, you have to ask yourself, who is your franchise goalie? Do you still stick with him? Because you've seen what's happened to Matt Murray, how he kind of fell apart. Now he, hopefully for his sake, will get it back. But the goalies will dictate who wins and loses in the postseason. And no matter, even if they do survive, they got to go against Tuukka Rask, who's playing really good right now.
Well, Tristan Jarry, this was his first season where he got to be the man, and he did not distinguish himself. I mean, I look at him, and I certainly don't see franchise goalie in the making. I mean, that's the only real question that matters. I don't see it. I see a guy, like you said, whose confidence was rattled, who looked technically anything but sound in his net. And has looked that way at times. I mean, he had a great, 2-month run, let's say. Mm-hmm. He put them on his back, and he showed he could play really well. But this is the Penguins. This is what are you doing for me when it's the postseason, when it matters the most, when you have a team that looks like it could at least be an interesting contender for a cup. If you're the goalie and you let that go by the wayside, that's on you, and that should make every Penguins fan nervous for the future.
It really should. We'll talk about it. I know a lot of people want to talk about it. The lines are banked right now, Chris. We'll take those calls when we come back. Penguins with a stunning loss given how well they played. The goalie hung them out to dry. There's no other way to look about it. Sorokin was the star. He stole a big game for the New York Islanders. Now the Penguins have got to win 2 in a row. It will not be easy, but it's still not over. There's a lot of hockey left to be done. And I thought they'd lose today in overtime and come back and win the next 2. I'm shaking in my boots given what I've seen from Jarry. We'll talk about it. Get your calls at 412-575-2600 next right here live on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.